Let's talk now about the reproductive system. And as you know, now we have two separate systems, one for men and the other one for women, or for male and female. Both systems have different organs and different physiology, but they share the same functions, although different structures. So we have a primary sex organs in both males and females. Those are the testes in the males, ovaries in the females. Both of them, the testes and the ovaries, perform the same function, which is producing the sex cells, which are the sperms and the eggs or the ova. This is one function. The other function is producing the sex hormones, androgens, testosterone in males, and estrogen, progesterone in females. So those are the primary sex organs, the testes and the ovaries. Then we have accessory organs. Mainly we're talking about ducts, tunnel system that to transport either the sperms or the eggs, the glands. We have also external genitalia as part of the reproductive system. Let's start talking about the male. The male reproductive system, it's less complicated comparing to the female. However, it shares, part of it are shared between the urinary system and the reproductive system. So starting from down, we have the testes. And the testes, as we know, those are the sites for sperm production, and also they are responsible for producing the testosterone or the hormones, sex hormones in males. So those testes are outside the body. That is during the fetal development. After birth, they will come outside the body. They will migrate outside the body because of the temperature. And there we have the sperms. We'll talk about the inner structures of the testes, but those sperms will move later to the epididymis. This is the second organ. Okay, the epididymis is a site for sperm maturation, right? Sperm maturation. So the sperms will enter the epididymis, and as they move toward the tail of the epididymis, they will get matured. After that, they will get transported through a duct, a long duct called the vas deferens or the ductus deferens. So this is just a duct to transport the sperms, and now they are getting inside the body. Now at the end of the duct, there is an expansion. This expansion we call it the ampulla. The ampulla. This is number 4, this is number 3. Ampulla of the ductus deferens. What does it do? This is for storage. So here we have the sperm storage before ejaculation. The ampulla is an area for sperm storage before ejaculation. Now, once we have ejaculation, the sperms will move into ejaculatory duct. From ejaculatory duct, they will move into prostatic urethra. We'll talk about all of that. And then from there, they will go into the spongy urethra and then outside the body. Okay, toward outside the body. So we are talking about a pathway of sperms. Okay, from the site of their production all the way until they are outside the body. So we have testes, epididymis, then we have the vas deferens, then the ampulla of the vas deferens, then ejaculatory duct, then spongy urethra, then the prostatic urethra, spongy urethra, then outside the body. So this is the sperm pathway. You need to be familiar with it, the sperm pathway. Okay, now for the testes, as we said earlier, they are going to migrate outside the body immediately after birth, and outside the body they will be kept in a sac of skin. This is called the scrotum, and that's critical because the sperms, for their maturation, they will need a lower degree, like 2 to 4 degrees Celsius below the body temperature, in order for the sperms to develop. But inside the testes, we will have a dense connective tissue. That's the tunica. Now this will form chambers. We have like kind of trabeculae that they will form, or septum that will form the chambers. Inside those chambers, we have seminiferous tubules. Those seminiferous tubules, this is the actual site for sperm production. So the sperms are produced here, and also testosterone is produced here. Okay, so inside the seminiferous tubules, that is where we will have. So the sperms, once they are ready, once they are produced, they will move through those like a straight tubule, and they will go to the retitestes. Retitestes is a network of tubules. Its function, what's happening here is reabsorption of testosterone. Testosterone is a hormone produced produced from cells between the seminiferous tubules. But this is important only for sperm production. After we have sperms, we don't need testosterone, so we are going to reabsorb it in the rete testes. From the rete testes, the sperms will move to the epididymis. We said the epididymis had 3 regions, or maybe we did not say that. We have the head, we have the body, we have the tail. The sperms will move through all of those regions toward the tail, and from there they will enter the ductus deferens. And from the ductus deferens, or through the ductus deferens, that's where they will go into the body through the spermatic cord. Now for the spermatogenesis, this is the process of sperm production. What you need to understand is that we have a mother cell that will go through mitosis, then those daughter cells will go through meiosis, okay, and those cells will give us the sperms. So we have a spermogenetic cell called the spermatogenium. There's one cell, this is the mother cell, that would give us primary spermatocyte into secondary spermatocyte, and then we will have the sperms. You don't need really to get into the details of this process, but what you need to understand is because of the meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, we're going to halve the genetic material. What does it mean? It means in adults, when we say we have 2n, it means those cells will have 23 pairs of chromosomes, 23 pairs, okay, or 64 or 46 chromosomes, okay. But when it's 1n, it's 23 chromosomes, not 23 pairs, 23 chromosomes. The other 23 will come from mom, okay. So just be careful with this. The sperm itself, it has a head, midpiece, and the tail. The head will contain some enzymes over the head that will, help in penetrating the egg. We have the midpiece that's filled with mitochondria, and we have the flagellum, which will help in the spilling or the swimming or the propelling of the sperms into the fluid or through the fluid of the male or female reproductive system. Now, those sperms, we said, after they are produced in the testes, matured in the epididymis, moved to the ductus deferens, and they will get stored into the ampulla of the ductus deferens. And that is where we need to talk about the glands now, because now in the ampulla, the sperms technically are ready for ejaculation. But once with their ejaculation, if they are ejaculated, they need another fluid, they need another enzymes to activate them. That is the role of the glands. We have 3 glands we are going to see. The first one is called seminal vesicles. This seminal vesicle is this. This is a gland that's responsible for producing semen. 60% of the semen is coming from the seminal vesicle gland. The semen produced there contains fructose. Fructose is a sugar, as you know, that will be used by the sperms for their energy. This is coming from fruit usually. So we eat fruit, and that fructose, part of it will go to the seminal, in males, will go to the seminal vesicles. Once we have ejaculation, there will be like smooth muscles on the gland that they will squeeze the semen into the sperms. So you need to be careful here not to confuse 2 things. We have the ampulla. This is the ampulla. You need to be careful not to confuse 2 things. So therefore, we will do some drawing that will help us understand. Okay, so we said we have the vas deferens, and the vas deferens will give us the ampulla. Let's say this is the ampulla. So we have the vas deferens, and the vas deferens will give us the ampulla. Ampulla is an expansion. So this is the ampulla of vas deferens. The seminal vesicle gland is located here. Okay, so this is the seminal vesicle gland. And the semen is secreted on the sperms. The sperms are here. Once we have ejaculation, they will move into ejaculatory duct, which is this part. This part is the ejaculatory duct. Okay, so this is the ejaculatory duct. So you need to be careful that the sperms, they don't go into the seminal vesicle. No, the semen is what's secreted on them. This is a common mistake. Some students will get confused and they will think like we will have sperms here. That is wrong. Only semen comes out. The sperms will continue through this pathway. So this is the ejaculatory duct. Now this, from the ejaculatory duct, it will go into the prostate. This will continue into the prostate. So here I will draw it in different color, okay, just to recognize it that here now we have the prostatic urethra. So here we will have the prostate. Okay, all of this is the prostate, and the prostate is another gland that contributes around 30% of semen. The semen here is alkaline because we need to adjust the pH of male and female ducts actually for the sperms. The semen here contains enzymes to activate the sperms, and it also some of those enzymes to deagglutinate the sperms. What does deagglutination mean? It means to spread them as individual sperms because they might come attached to each other, so we need to get them separated. And we call it prostatic urethra because it's connected inside the urethra, and even here ejaculatory duct, good part of it is inside the urethra, but we call it ejaculatory duct. This one we call it prostatic urethra because it's open and connected to the urine urethra or the bladder urethra. So we call it prostatic urethra because here we have another urethra that is coming from urinary bladder. So the urinary bladder is here. Technically it's so big, if you want really to draw it will be covering the entire area here. Okay, so this will be the urinary bladder, which there is a tunnel for urine to pass it through into the prostatic urethra, and from the prostatic urethra, that is where it goes into the penis. Okay, so what I need you to understand is this arrangement between the ampulla and the seminal gland and the prostate, the prostatic urethra, ejaculatory duct, and understand that also the prostate contains the urethra, brings urine from the urinary bladder. So those are two glands. Then there is a third gland which is located just beneath the prostate. This is the prostate, and beneath it there is this gland, the bulbourethral gland. This gland would secrete slippery fluid upon sexual arousal, upon sexual stimulation. This to lubricate the penis, or technically specifically the head of the penis for the intercourse. Okay. Also, this would wash the urethra inside the penis and to neutralize also the pH there. So sometimes this fluid is like pre-ejaculatory, so it will come just before ejaculation. Okay, so this is the bulbourethral gland. For the prostate gland, there is common condition in men that sometimes it will develop into a cancer, prostatic cancer. This cancer by itself is not dangerous one as long as there is no metastasis from those cells. Like there are patients that they will live the rest of their life with carrying prostate cancer, but it is, very safe type of cancer, and sometimes in many cases they don't receive any treatment. However, this cancer, if it start to cause problems, especially because what's happening is the prostate will get enlarged, so there is enlargement in the prostate, and sometimes it will squeeze on the urethra, it will close it. So those people, when they go to urinate, they don't feel that they emptied their bladder, that there is always, urine there. They did not feel relieved after urination. Sometimes they'll go into a surgery to remove it. But in many cases, if it's a cancer and it's not growing, usually it goes untreated. Okay, so I'll stop here. In the following video, we'll talk about the penis and we'll talk about the mechanisms of producing testosterone. Also, we'll talk about the erection and ejaculation.